Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to implement a very basic linked list in Java. So for those of you who don't know, a linked list is essentially a list made up of links, and each link has a pointer to another link in the list. So for this video I'm going to be showing you guys a singly linked list, meaning that the list only traverses one way. So for this list, it's going to be traversing from left to right. So this isn't a doubly linked list where each link has a reference to also its previous link, so you can iterate through it from the back as well. So in a linked list, we want to go ahead and create our class actually for the link. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's call it link. And let's say it takes a public integer called integer data. Now we need to create a reference for our link saying to point to the next link in our list. So we're going to go ahead and say public link next. I think this is about all the variables we're going to need for now. So we're going to go ahead and get started a constructor here. So we call a constructor by calling public link, and constructors must always have the same name as our class. And for the parameters, we're going to take an integer called idata. First, we're going to go ahead and set this.idata equal to idata. And then we're going to initialize next to null. In Java, references are always initialized to null by default. However, for the sake of clarity, I thought I would just go ahead and write it out for us here. So, if we want to include a display linked list method, we need to create a display link method first in our link class. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's call it a public void method. Go ahead and call it a public link, or display link, my bad. And then we'll say that we want to system.out.print, and it's gonna go ahead and print out our data at our current link. Oops. And there we have it. So this is our link class. This is pretty much what we're going to be calling in our actual linked list to implement it. So we're going to go ahead and go to our second page here, and let's go ahead and call this class just a linked list. Real simple. Let's now go ahead and set our variables. We're not going to take any additional variables in our linked list here, simply because we only need to create one reference, that reference being a private reference towards our first link in the list. Now we want to go ahead and create our constructor and say that a public, this is actually in plain text. We're going to set it to Java, and we actually want to say that public linked list takes no additional parameters because we have nothing to initialize from our original variables up there. And we want to go ahead and say that first is equal to null. Now we can get started coding on our methods. I think one of the most important methods, or one of my favorite methods to code first in a linked list, is the isEmpty method, simply because we want to check if our linked list is empty, and just being able to check that really allows for easier implementation of other methods. So we're going to go ahead and do that, called a public boolean method. I'm going to say isEmpty for the name. It's going to take no additional parameters, and we can note that this method will return true if and only if first is equal to null, meaning our list is empty. Now let's go ahead and do our insert method. So for a basic linked list, we want to go ahead and insert everything in O of one time. So we're going to go ahead and have it so that we insert a link at the very beginning of our list. So this is a void method. We're going to call it insert first, and it's going to take an integer called key. Now, when we do this, we need to first create our new link. So we're going to go ahead and call it link. We'll name it new link. And it's going to go ahead and take new link. That's going to take the integer of key. And we've created our new link. So, how do we do this? How do we insert this link we just created into our linked list and send it to our first link in our list? Well, we can go ahead and do this by manipulating some pointers. So right now, if we were to have, let's say, a linked list with 3 keys in it, 1, 2, 3, and we want to insert 0 into our list at the beginning, what we have right now is we have our linked list of 1 pointing to 2, pointing to 3, and we have 0 on its own. So we now need to have it so that 0 points to 1. So we can go ahead and do this by saying that the new link dot next, or the link next to the new link, is the first link in our linked list. So now this connects 0 pointing to 1. But we can't just stop here, because now we need to update our first link. Our first link is no longer 1, rather it is 0. So now we say that first is in fact equal to our new link. And that is how we insert a link at the beginning of our linked list in Java. Now we want to have a delete method, of course. And when we delete a link, we want to go ahead and return it just in case. Give me a second. We want to go ahead and return the actual link we delete. So let's go ahead and say that a public link called delete first with no additional parameters, simply because we'll be deleting our first link in the list. And we need to create a temporary reference here, actually. We're going to go ahead and say that a link called temp, which is initialized to our first link in the list. And we're going to say, well, let's think about this for a second here. If we want to delete our first link in a linked list, we need to have it so that our first link in the list is no longer connected to the link next to the first list. So how can we say that? Well, we can do that by saying that our new first link, right, is in fact the link next to first. So we can say first is equal, or first is set to first dot next. And what this does is this disconnects our pointer from our first, or this disconnects our reference to our first link. So first is no longer our first link. In fact, it is our second link in the link. And we want to return what we delete, so we just return our temporary reference. Now, we want to code our display linked list method here. When we do this, we want to go ahead and do it so that we iterate through our linked list till we have reached the end. And how do we do that? Well, we can go ahead and do that by creating a link reference for the current link we're at. So let's go ahead and get that done. It's a public void method because we want to print it out to our console. We're going to go ahead and call it display linked, or let's call it display list. It's going to take no additional parameters. And then what's going to happen is we're going to create a reference called current and set that equal to our first link in the list. And we're going to, well, to make sure that we display every link in order, what we need to do is iterate through our list one link at a time. So we want to say that while current is not equal to null, meaning that until we reach the end of our list, right? Until we reach the end of our list, we want to continue whatever we put inside these brackets. It seems that Adam's lagging a little bit. I have a feeling it's going to hit the kernel hotkey. So we're going to wait for it to time out. But essentially what we want to say inside these curly brackets is that current is equal to the link next to current. So this will iterate through our linked list. And as we iterate through our linked list, we want to display our current link. We'll actually keep waiting here. So let me just sort of walk you through the code here as my text editor sort of unfreezes. What we want to say inside this while loop, there we go, is we want to display the current link. So current.display link. So what this does is we are displaying the link data that we are at. Now we want to go to the next link in our list. And until we reach the end of the list, we're going to go ahead and be printing out the link into our console that we're at over and over and over. Now, this is a very basic linked list. This has your very simple isEmpty method, which will allow us to check if our linked list is empty. It has an insert first method, which will insert a link at the beginning of our list. And it has a delete first method, which will delete the first link in our list. And we have a display list method, which will display the entire contents of our list. So let's go ahead and plug this into an IDE and see what happens. So I actually have an IDE right here for us. That is some code that just did for fun. So let's go ahead and create a new Java class here while everything sort of lags out. I'm going to go ahead and create a new Java class. Let's just call this main. And as this creates, we're going to go ahead and go back to Adam here. And we're going to go ahead and copy and paste. So we're going to create some room over here. And we're going to go ahead and first off, we're going to go ahead and copy our link class. So we're going to copy that. Go ahead and paste it into our IDE. Our link class now has been initialized. In our IDE, we can go ahead and copy all of this, and then we can put this down here. Linked list. Yep. Now we can go ahead and do our main method here. So we'll say public static void main. It's going to take a string of arguments. And we're going to say that, let's see. We need to create our linked list first, of course. So we're going to say linked list. We're going to call it list is equal to a new linked list. And it's going to take nothing because our constructor does not take additional parameters. So we're going to add, let's say, 3 things. So we're going to insert 4. We're going to insert, we're going to go ahead and insert 1, and we'll insert slightly bigger number than previous numbers. We'll go ahead and insert, let's say, 21. Great. Now we want to display our list here, so we'll do the list.displayList method. We want to go ahead and actually give it space in the console line, so we'll have it print out an empty line. And then we want to list.delete our first link, and then we want to display our list again. So let's see what this looks like in code. So assuming everything goes well, we should be printed out 21, 1, and 4. It will display the list, and then it's going to delete 21 from our list and then display 1 and 4 in our console. So as this slowly builds, I'll give a brief summarization of what I'll be talking in the next video. The next video, I'm going to be talking about implementing a sorted linked list in Java. It's a little bit more complicated. Insertion and deletion are actually an O of n time, simply because we need to see where each key belongs, in the worst case scenario where we do have to iterate to the end of the list, assuming there are n links, we need to go through every single link in the list. So it's a little slower. It's actually significantly slower compared to O1 time, but it does have its benefits. So it seems that it's finished building. Apologies, my computer's a little slow. There we have it. It's printed out 21, 1, and 4. It has deleted 21 once we have called the delete first method, and it's printed out 1 and 4. Thank you guys for watching this video on a basic implementation of linked lists. Keep an eye out for my next video, which is going to be a video about implementing a sorted linked list in Java. It has a few more complicated methods. In fact, it has methods very similar to our display list method here, because we're going to be using a lot of different references. This video on linked list, I plan on being about 3, maybe 4 videos, where the third video I'll be talking about implementing a doubly linked list, and the last video I'll be talking about implementing iterator in our linked lists. Thanks for watching.